A soft ripple moved across the surface of the silver river. Tiny sparks of light drifted in the currents, like distant stars caught in a slow dance. Somewhere deep beneath, the water pulsed with a hum, faint and ancient, as though it remembered every sigh, every whisper, every forgotten story that had brushed its banks. The figure standing at the river's edge was small against the sweeping landscape, yet their presence seemed to draw the world inward. Cloaked in a fabric that shimmered with the hues of early dawn, they gazed into the shifting reflections. Their eyes caught flickers of movement that belonged neither to fish nor to wind, fleeting patterns that hinted at secrets buried beneath the surface. Mist coiled around their ankles, rising like ghostly tendrils. Each breath they exhaled wove into the fog, curling into shapes that wavered, then dissolved, leaving the air heavier with quiet anticipation. The river whispered a question that was not sound but sensation. Do you wish to see what has been, or what is yet to come? The wind answered in kind, brushing the reeds and bending the trees in a rhythm that felt older than memory. It carried the scent of flowers that had never existed in any forest known to mortals, petals of pale violet and soft silver, their fragrance tingling like a half-remembered dream. The figure's hand hovered above the water, trembling with hesitation and curiosity. They could feel the pull of the river, a tug not just on the skin but deep in the marrow, calling them to step beyond the familiar edge. Tiny lights shimmered beneath the surface, like memories made of glass, shifting and refracting into visions just beyond comprehension. Around them, the forest held its breath. Leaves trembled softly in a rhythm that matched the river's pulse. Ancient trees arched high, their trunks gnarled and twisted with age, branches weaving into patterns that suggested doorways, windows, and sometimes faces. The shadows they cast over the water moved as if alive, but without threat, more like guardians or watchers of a forgotten time. The figure knelt, fingertips grazing the surface. The river responded with a shiver, sending concentric circles outward. In each ring, images appeared and faded. A village of white stones under a green sky. A lone traveler walking along a cliff with a lantern that glowed like captured moonlight. A storm that rained silver leaves instead of water. The hum beneath grew louder, resonating with a vibration that seeped into bones and thoughts. The river seemed to ask again, this time in a voice that was almost a sigh. Will you dive and witness the story that belongs to neither past nor future, but to the river itself? Hesitation stretched. The figure remembered lessons from the elders, stories of travelers who had peered too deeply and become lost between times. Yet curiosity, gentle but insistent, overpowered caution. A step forward, a slow bend of the knees, and they touched the river fully, sending shimmers spiraling across the surface like ripples through a mirror. Colors bloomed in the water, liquid rainbows that danced along invisible currents. Shapes formed, nebulous but familiar, glimpses of forgotten faces, distant landscapes, animals that walked on air rather than land. Each vision breathed slowly, giving the figure the sense of time stretching, folding, and returning like the tide. And in that moment, a soft current wrapped around their wrist, as if the river itself had accepted the invitation. Not with force, not with urgency, but with the weightless, inevitable pull of a story beginning to unfold. Somewhere, beyond the trees, a bird called. A sound pure, crystalline, and impossible to place in any season known to the world. The figure inhaled deeply, letting the scent of silver flowers, wet earth, and river mist fill them completely. It was a threshold, subtle and serene. No doors, no voices, no announcements. Only the gentle certainty that something was about to move. Not the river alone, not the figure alone, but the thread connecting both, unspooling slowly into a story that had waited a lifetime to be seen. The first ripple of magic brushed their skin. Not bright, not loud, just a soft, lingering warmth, like sunlight falling through clouded glass. The figure exhaled, closing eyes briefly, feeling the river's pulse in tandem with their own heartbeat. And with that, the boundary dissolved, and they began to drift. The river welcomed them with gentle resistance, flowing around the figure's body like warm silk. Each step deeper into its current felt like sinking into a soft memory, both familiar and strange. The water's surface shimmered in colors that seemed almost alive, shifting slowly, breathing with the rhythm of the unseen pulse below. Above, the sky was a canopy of muted light, neither day nor night. Pale clouds floated lazily, their edges glowing faintly, reflecting onto the river like fragile lanterns. The scent of blossoms and damp earth lingered, soothing the senses, carrying away the tension of the world left behind. The figure drifted forward, letting the river guide their movements. Shapes emerged in the mist. A willow whose hanging branches seemed to whisper secrets, a stone bridge arched perfectly over a pool that mirrored the sky, and small creatures moving slowly among the reeds, luminous and silent. Each detail felt deliberate, yet soft, as though the world itself were breathing, encouraging gentle observation rather than hasty understanding. Light ripples formed under their touch, spreading outward in endless circles. Within the water, images lingered, distant mountains folded into mist, a glimmering forest path winding endlessly, and a lake where stars floated on its surface, unmoving yet alive. The river seemed to carry these visions without urgency, allowing the figure to absorb each quietly, without rush or worry. A faint hum rose from the depths, low and comforting. It was not frightening, only persistent, like a lullaby the river had sung for centuries. The figure closed their eyes for a moment, letting their thoughts slow, letting the rhythm of the water synchronize with the beat of their heart. Time felt different here, fluid, unmeasured. The river's pulse was a soft guide, leading them gently toward places that existed in memory and imagination, places that felt safe and serene. Shadows played along the water, dancing slowly, never threatening, always familiar, like the soft movement of curtains in a quiet room. Occasionally, a leaf drifted past, glowing faintly, its edges outlined in silver. Tiny fish swam near, their scales reflecting the muted light, creating trails that vanished like fleeting dreams. The figure felt a calm curiosity bloom inside, a quiet eagerness to see what the river would reveal next, without fear, without urgency. And as the figure floated deeper, the river began to open small windows into its story. First, a garden suspended in mist, where flowers of impossible colors bent toward them, swaying as if greeting an old friend. Then, a distant tower, its spire hidden in clouds, with light glimmering from windows that had never been touched by human hands. Everything moved in slow harmony, a meditation made tangible in water and light. The figure breathed deeply, savoring the warmth of the river, the softness of the mist, the gentle illumination around them. Each sensation was clear yet muted, precise yet soothing, as if the river were wrapping them in a blanket woven from quiet moments and gentle wonder. The river widened, its surface now smooth as polished glass, reflecting the soft light above. The figure floated effortlessly, weightless, as if the water had dissolved the boundary between body and current. Each gentle wave carried them forward, not hurriedly, but with an unspoken patience. Along the banks, ancient trees leaned over the water, their leaves brushing the surface, creating ripples that shimmered like liquid silver. Birds with translucent feathers drifted silently through the mist, their wings producing no sound, only a gentle rhythm in the air that complemented the hum of the river below. Here and there, small islands appeared, patches of moss, tiny crystal-clear pools, flowers glowing faintly in hues unknown to any known world. The figure reached out, fingertips tracing the surface, feeling warmth and coolness, motion and stillness at once. Each contact sent waves of calm through their senses, a gentle reminder that the river held them safely, that it guided rather than demanded. Shadows danced lightly over the water, forming shapes that hinted at distant memories and future possibilities. A deer-like creature appeared on one bank, its eyes reflecting the river's glow, moving slowly and deliberately, disappearing as quietly as it had come. The figure's chest rose and fell in perfect sync with the river's pulse, inhaling the scent of wet earth, soft flowers, and the faint metallic shimmer of the water itself. Above, clouds shifted imperceptibly, letting streaks of pale light fall in silvery patterns across the river. Tiny motes of glowing dust floated in the air, drifting lazily around the figure as if tracing invisible currents, leading the eye along the soft, undulating flow of water. The river seemed endless, yet intimate, each bend and ripple familiar yet mysterious, like a dream remembered but never fully understood. Small reflections appeared in the water, mirroring images of places and times the figure could not name. A quiet village under a violet sky, a lone lantern swaying on a bridge, a forest of crystalline trees bending under the weight of soft snow that never touched the ground. Each vision lingered long enough to be felt, then dissolved with gentle inevitability. The figure let their eyes drift closed for a moment, surrendering to the river's rhythm. A soft warmth spread from their chest to their fingertips, carrying with it a sense of ease, clarity, and gentle anticipation. They were not moving through the river was moving through them, a slow current of serenity and story intertwined. Finally, the river curved, opening into a vast expanse where mist and water blended seamlessly. Here, the hum was deeper, warmer, almost like a lullaby sung by the world itself. The figure floated in its embrace, aware of the past and future hinted at by the shimmering visions, yet fully anchored in the quiet present, in the river's calm. The river widened further, the current gentler now, as if inviting deeper exploration. Mist hovered above the water in delicate swirls, reflecting soft lights that seemed neither sun nor moon, but something in between, something timeless. The figure floated slowly, allowing the river to guide them. Beneath the surface, shapes shimmered, silhouettes of places unseen, hints of paths not yet walked. Occasionally, a gentle ripple revealed the glimmer of a sunken stone arch, half covered in moss, its carvings ancient and soft, telling stories without words. On the banks, trees of impossible shapes leaned toward the river, their leaves brushing the water and leaving trails of golden light. A quiet wind moved through them, carrying the scent of unknown blooms, some sweet, some faintly metallic, all soothing and comforting. Small creatures appeared and disappeared in the fog, fox-like animals with fur that gleamed like liquid silver, birds whose wings cast faint trails of luminescence, and insects that hummed in harmony with the river's pulse. Each movement was slow, deliberate, almost ceremonial, adding to the feeling of serenity that wrapped the figure like a gentle blanket. The figure's hand skimmed the surface, leaving ripples that revealed fleeting visions. A glade of crystalline flowers, petals trembling without wind. A distant tower rising from clouds, where lanterns glowed with a warm, unhurried light. A bridge that curved over water, yet no land lay beneath it, as though suspended in a dream. Every sensation was amplified by the stillness, the soft lap of water against their skin, the subtle warmth of the air, the faint vibration of the river beneath. Time seemed to stretch, moments unfolding slowly, deliberately, like pages turning in a book written for those who listen quietly. And then, from the mist, came a subtle change. Shapes that had seemed still began to drift slightly, as if noticing the figure. The wind shifted too, brushing more insistently, carrying whispers of something unseen, hints of a presence that had been waiting quietly for centuries. The figure inhaled, savoring the comfort of the river, yet aware of the slight stir in the world around them. Curiosity stirred again, calm and steady. They allowed themselves to float, trusting the river, feeling it guiding towards something just beyond the reach of sight, something gentle but inevitable. Light played across the water, reflecting clouds that moved with a grace impossible to force. Tiny motes of light drifted in the air, weaving between reeds and branches, painting invisible paths for the figure to follow. Each step forward was effortless, a quiet surrender to the river's rhythm, a meditation in motion, a soft unfolding of wonder. And so, carried by the gentle current, the figure moved onward, deeper into the river of time, their senses alive to the slow, magical pulse of a world that had always been waiting for them to arrive. The river curved gently, opening into a stretch where the water reflected a sky of shifting hues, pale lavender, soft rose, and hints of silver light. Mist hung low, curling around the figure's shoulders and hands, enveloping them in a cool, comforting embrace. Along the banks, delicate flowers leaned over the water, their petals trembling slightly, catching faint glimmers from the river below. The scents were subtle, honeyed sweetness, damp earth, and a hint of something floral yet unknown, a fragrance that seemed to anchor the mind while inviting gentle wonder. Small, luminous creatures floated lazily along the mist. They drifted like living lanterns, tracing silent arcs across the river's surface, weaving patterns of light that made the water shimmer with quiet magic. Occasionally, one brushed a finger against the figure's cloak, leaving a faint warmth that spread softly through their chest. The figure's gaze drifted downward, following currents that carried visions. A forest of glassy trees, bending and swaying with no wind, reflected in the river like a dream. A bridge of light arched gracefully, its glow soft and inviting, stretching to a place that seemed both far away and intimately close. Each step, each drift through the water, felt deliberate yet effortless, a slow unfolding of the world around them. Shadows moved lightly along the banks, forming shapes that hinted at distant memories, half-remembered dreams, and the gentle pulse of time itself. A faint murmur arose from beneath the river, almost like a song. It was neither loud nor urgent, only a gentle resonance, wrapping around the figure's mind and body, encouraging calm, focus, and surrender. The water pulsed with it, a rhythm that matched the steady inhale and exhale of a deep, unhurried breath. Slowly, a small island appeared ahead, barely more than a patch of moss and reeds. Light glimmered from tiny flowers scattered across its surface, each bloom opening lazily, as if aware of the figure's approach. The air was warmer here, a subtle embrace that invited rest without sleep, meditation without thought. On the far side of the island, a small cascade tumbled into the river. Its water shimmered faintly, sending soft ripples through the current. Each ripple seemed to carry memories of laughter, quiet moments, and soft sighs, weaving them into the river's ongoing story. The figure drifted closer to the island, letting their fingertips trace the water, feeling the currents guide them with gentle insistence. Light and shadow danced across the surface, forming ever-changing patterns that suggested paths, yet never demanded following. And in that slow, tranquil motion, the figure felt the river's invitation deepen, to move onward, yes, but also to observe, to absorb, to surrender to the calm rhythm of a world that existed for reflection, not urgency. Each heartbeat aligned with the pulse beneath, each breath synced with the flow, and the figure realized they were no longer simply following the river. They were becoming part of it. Mist curled lazily around the figure, soft and cool, carrying scents of flowers that shimmered faintly in the gentle light. Alongside the current, a second presence became visible, a silent traveler, seated upon a small raft of reeds, cloaked in moss-colored fabric. Their movements were careful and deliberate, hands barely disturbing the water as they drifted toward the first figure. Light played along the surface, reflecting clouds that swirled like smoke, muted tones of lavender and silver brushing the edges of vision. Between the two figures, a subtle connection formed, not in words, but in shared awareness, the kind that allows two beings to occupy the same space without breaking the quiet rhythm. Soft ripples carried visions, a glade where flowers glowed like lanterns, petals opening slowly, distant cliffs with a waterfall cascading into a pool of liquid light, a bridge of silver threads stretching toward nowhere, yet inviting the gaze to follow. Each image lingered long enough to be savored, then dissolved with calm inevitability. The first figure extended a hand toward the newcomer, and for a moment, the river seemed to hesitate, ripples pausing as if observing this quiet exchange. No words passed, only a soft acknowledgement, a gentle breath of understanding. Both figures floated forward, guided by currents that whispered stories of time folded, memories stretched, and dreams made tangible. Shadows moved with slow grace, hinting at distant shapes, trees with trunks twisted into spirals, leaves glowing faintly, their motion like breathing, creatures shimmering in silver light, moving just beyond clear sight. The air carried a warmth that wrapped around the figures, comforting, calm, and steady. Currents shifted subtly, nudging the raft closer to the islands of moss and reeds that dotted the path ahead. Each island bore tiny flowers that pulsed faintly, their light blending with the mist, creating a pattern of quiet luminescence. The figures floated through these spaces without hurry, their bodies moving with a rhythm that mirrored the pulse of the water beneath. Small creatures, translucent and glowing, drifted past, brushing softly against hands and sleeves. Their presence was gentle, like the caress of wind over skin, drawing attention without demand, reminding both travelers of the delicate harmony surrounding them. From deeper within, a hum rose, a sound both distant and intimate. It resonated in bones and chest alike, a melody that did not push but invited calm reflection. Together, the two figures inhaled slowly, letting the vibration fill them, feeling the slow unfolding of time and space in perfect synchrony. As they drifted onward, the mist thickened slightly, blurring edges, softening contours, transforming the river into a flowing dreamscape. Colors became more fluid, blending with each other, soft blues merging into silvers, pale golds curling into lavender. Each moment felt suspended, a gentle meditation where the past and future were not separate, only present in the quiet current guiding them. With that, the act settled into serenity, leaving both figures poised between curiosity and calm, ready to move further into the river of time, where new visions awaited in the soft, unhurried flow. A gentle bend in the water revealed a stretch where mist hung thicker, curling like slow smoke over smooth stones and luminous reeds. The two figures floated side by side, their movements so calm and deliberate that the river seemed to hold its breath in quiet reverence. Along the banks, trees arched gracefully, their branches reaching toward the current as if to brush the traveler's shoulders. Leaves glimmered with a faint inner light, swaying in slow rhythm, casting dancing reflections across the water. Occasionally, a single petal drifted down, landing lightly on the surface, forming concentric ripples that merged softly with the existing currents. Small animals appeared intermittently, creatures with fur or feathers that glimmered with iridescent hues, moving languidly, never startling, their eyes reflecting curiosity without urgency. A bird with transparent wings glided slowly above, its shadow glimmering on the water like a moving lantern. The first figure reached out gently, letting fingertips brush the surface. Tiny visions shimmered beneath the skin of the water. A field of flowers bending under a light breeze that existed only here. A path of floating stones winding into clouds, and faint glimpses of distant towers, their spires bending like reeds toward the soft silver sky. The second figure mirrored the motion, hands tracing slow arcs through the current. For a moment, they both paused, letting the river cradle them. The hum beneath deepened, resonant and soft, vibrating through limbs and chest, aligning with the heartbeat, guiding attention inward. Wisps of mist swirled upward, carrying faint scents, honeyed blooms, cool wet stones, distant smoke of a fire never seen. The air was warm yet soft, comforting in its embrace, each inhalation bringing calm, each exhalation releasing tension. Across the current, a small island appeared, its surface dotted with flowers that pulsed gently, like lanterns breathing in time with the river. Tiny streams trickled around the mossy stones, their sound barely audible but soothing, like a lullaby carried from another world. The first figure glanced at the second, sensing the quiet presence beside them. No words were needed. The shared stillness spoke volumes. Each drift of the current, each ripple of light across the water, deepened their connection to the river, to the moment, to the slow unfolding of this world. Shapes moved subtly in the distance. A willow whose branches dipped into the water, silver fish tracing arcs beneath the surface, a faint shimmer that hinted at creatures walking between the trees. All was calm, yet alive, inviting observation without demand, meditation without interruption. Soft streaks of light broke through the mist, illuminating parts of the riverbed where stones glowed faintly, etched with patterns older than memory. The figures let the glow guide their path, tracing it with slow hands, inhaling the warmth and peace it brought. For a long, suspended moment, time felt unmeasured. Breath slowed, hearts aligned with the river's pulse, and the world seemed to exist only in the gentle rhythm of floating, drifting, observing. Even the air itself carried a subtle vibration, a lullaby of unseen currents and whispered stories. And then, just beyond a bend, a cascade of water tumbled from a height, spilling into the river like liquid crystal. It shimmered faintly, sending soft ripples across the surface, each wave carrying glimpses of places not yet visited, promises of gentle discoveries ahead. The figures allowed the current to guide them toward this new vision, embracing the calm excitement of what might be, without haste, without urgency, fully present in the serene flow of the river of time. Light shimmered across the mist, revealing a stretch where gentle cascades fell from rocky outcrops, their water glittering faintly with colors unseen in any known sky. The figures drifted quietly, letting currents guide them past small pools where liquid light gathered in slow, deliberate eddies. Moss-covered stones formed tiny islands, their edges soft and rounded, creating sheltered pockets where luminous flowers grew. Each petal seemed to pulse in rhythm with the hum beneath the water, casting delicate reflections on the surface that twisted and curved like slow breathing. Small, ethereal creatures emerged from the mist, a fox with fur of pale silver, moving languidly among the reeds, a bird whose wings left trails of soft light in the air, insects that hovered near the surface, producing faint harmonic tones. They moved with calm precision, guiding the figure's attention rather than startling or distracting. Ahead, a glade appeared, its boundaries blurred by the thickening mist. Crystal-like trees leaned toward each other, their branches forming archways, windows into shapes that seemed alive. Soft motes of light floated between them, carrying faint warmth, brushing gently against cloaks and hair. The figures moved side by side, noticing subtle details, flowers opening and closing in slow cycles, stones etched with patterns that suggested ancient stories, faint silhouettes beneath the water hinting at creatures or shapes long forgotten. All unfolded without urgency, a slow meditation where curiosity and serenity coexisted. A soft breeze shifted, carrying scents of honeyed petals and damp earth, blending with the faint metallic shimmer of the water. The first figure's hand hovered over the surface, watching ripples form delicate patterns, each carrying visions. A distant village beneath violet clouds, a lone lantern glowing on a bridge, a faint tower rising from swirling mist. The second figure mirrored the gestures, hands moving in quiet arcs, leaving small ripples behind that intertwined with the first. No words passed, only the mutual recognition of shared presence, a silent understanding that the river's flow carried them together through a world suspended between dream and reality. Above, clouds shifted slowly, letting streams of pale light fall across the river in glimmering ribbons. Every ripple, every shadow, every shimmer became part of a larger rhythm, a gentle symphony that the figures absorbed in quiet awareness. As they drifted further, the sound of cascading water grew richer, harmonizing with the faint hum beneath the river. Shapes in the mist became more intricate, arches of vines, pools reflecting colors of skies that had never existed, and glimpses of creatures moving in slow, deliberate patterns, some walking on air, others gliding just beneath the surface, all part of the serene choreography of this hidden world. Time itself felt suspended. The figures floated without effort, their breathing aligning with the subtle rhythm around them. Each moment lingered, drawing attention to soft sensations. The warmth of mist on skin, the gentle vibration through water, the faint scent of blossoms carried on the breeze. And with that, the current curved gently, leading them toward a bend where the mist thinned slightly, revealing a distant shimmer, something new, unknown, inviting, yet entirely calm. The figures allowed themselves to drift toward it, carrying the gentle anticipation of discovery, fully immersed in the soft, unhurried unfolding of the river of time. The shimmer ahead grew slowly, revealing a hidden bay where water pooled in a vast expanse, smooth and clear like polished glass. Gentle cascades fell from low cliffs, their droplets scattering light in soft, rainbow hues that reflected across the figures' faces. Islands of moss and luminous flowers dotted the bay, small and rounded, forming natural paths that curved gracefully through the mist. The air here was warmer, carrying the scent of blossoms, damp earth, and something faintly metallic, like starlight brushed into the breeze. The two travelers paused, letting the current hold them in place. Light danced across the water, illuminating faint shapes beneath. Slow-moving creatures, semi-transparent and serene, gliding through the depths without urgency. Shadows shifted lightly above, branches bending as if bowing in quiet acknowledgement. Small sparks of light rose from the surface, swirling upward like fireflies, but with a softer glow, trailing gentle ribbons of warmth that brushed the figures as they floated. The first figure extended a hand, and one spark hovered briefly above a fingertip before drifting away, leaving behind a faint echo of calm and wonder. Around them, the mist pulsed softly, curling in slow patterns, suggesting doors, windows, and arches that led somewhere unknown but entirely safe. Each breath carried the rhythm of the bay, slow and unhurried, wrapping around both figures in a cocoon of light and shadow. Tiny waves traced arcs along the surface, each carrying fleeting visions. A silver bridge spanning a sky of pale lavender, a forest where trees bent in concentric circles, pools reflecting stars that had never existed. The images lingered just long enough to feel, then dissolved gently, leaving a soft emptiness filled with calm anticipation. The second figure's eyes met the first, a quiet recognition passing between them. No words were spoken. The stillness itself conveyed understanding, patience, and shared wonder. They let themselves float, drifting slowly toward a cluster of luminous islands where flowers bent as if nodding a greeting. From beneath, a soft hum rose, resonant and soothing. It vibrated through bones, through chest, through the water itself, aligning the traveler's breathing with the pulse of the bay. Every ripple, every glow, every faint scent contributed to the sense of suspended time, of being held in a dream carefully woven by the river and the mist. The horizon ahead hinted at further wonders: towers of stone and crystal, waterfalls spilling into mist, shapes that moved with slow elegance, yet entirely safe. The figures let the current guide them, surrendering fully to the soft rhythm, absorbing the beauty and serenity, each moment an unhurried meditation. As the bay opened wider, the mist lifting just enough to reveal the faint glow of distant lands, the travelers felt the gentle anticipation of the journey ahead. They floated in quiet harmony, aware of the river's embrace, the soft presence beside them, and the unfolding story that awaited, slowly, deliberately, gently. Mist rolled gently over a stretch of water that widened into a quiet lagoon, the surface smooth and faintly luminous. Small islands dotted the area, each crowned with flowers that glowed softly, their light pulsing like a heartbeat in time with the gentle current. A lone creature emerged near a cluster of reeds, its fur pale gold, eyes reflecting the shimmer of the water. It moved slowly, deliberately, pausing to watch the travelers before continuing its measured path along the bank. Beyond, a grove of towering trees bent gracefully toward each other, their trunks forming natural archways. Light filtered through leaves of violet and silver, scattering in subtle patterns across the water. Tiny motes floated in the air, drifting in quiet spirals, brushing against the figures with a soft warmth. The water around the islands carried visions: a path of floating stones that twisted toward misty hills, a waterfall spilling into an unseen cavern, reflections of towers reaching skyward yet touching no ground. Each shimmer lasted long enough to feel, then faded, leaving only the calm of the river's pulse. Small creatures, translucent and faintly glowing, moved between the reeds. Birds with silver-tipped wings glided lazily above, and insects hummed tones that blended with the subtle vibration of the water, creating a serene melody without sound. The figures drifted onward, following the gentle currents. Fingers traced the surface, leaving tiny ripples that revealed fleeting visions: a forest of crystalline trees, a bridge of light over a sky-colored pool, a meadow where flowers bent as if acknowledging their presence. Mist thickened slightly, curling around islands and rocks, softening edges, blurring shapes, transforming the lagoon into a flowing dreamscape. Every inhale brought warmth and calm. Every exhale released lingering tension, leaving only quiet awareness of light, water, and the gentle pulse beneath. Shapes moved subtly in the distance: a willow arching low, its branches dipping into the water, shadows hinting at creatures gliding between mist and reflection, a faint glow from stones beneath the surface that seemed alive. The figures let themselves follow, observing slowly, absorbing the subtle rhythm of the hidden world. A breeze stirred, carrying scents of wet earth, delicate petals, and a trace of metallic shimmer. Light bent in the mist, forming trails of soft color that twisted and faded, guiding attention without demand. The figures moved with the flow, hands barely disturbing the water, letting the lagoon's gentle current shape their path and pace. Ahead, faint forms hinted at new terrain: clusters of luminous islands, a waterfall spilling into clouds of mist, and shapes that moved with slow, deliberate grace, never startling, only inviting careful attention. The figures followed without haste, breathing in rhythm with the soft hum of the water, fully immersed in the quiet wonder of the world around them. Soft light filtered through a dense grove, illuminating patches of water where moss and reeds formed tiny islands. Each island glowed faintly, flowers pulsing in harmony with the subtle hum that vibrated through the lagoon. A slender creature appeared on one island, translucent wings catching the glow of floating motes. It paused to drink from the water, its movements slow and deliberate, leaving ripples that intertwined gently with those of the figures drifting nearby. Mist curled around the islands, softening every edge, blurring outlines of trees and rocks. Colors shifted in muted gradients, pale blues merging into silvers, soft golds blending into lavender. Every ripple, every glow, every scent of blossom or wet earth heightened the feeling of calm immersion. Shadows hinted at forms beneath the water, slow-moving shapes, half-seen creatures gliding just below the surface, their movements deliberate and peaceful. Light reflected off their silhouettes, creating patterns that twisted and danced, inviting observation without urgency. Fingers traced arcs in the water, leaving delicate ripples that revealed visions. A floating bridge winding toward clouds, crystalline towers rising from mist, and flowers that bent as if acknowledging presence. Each image lingered long enough to feel, then dissolved into the quiet rhythm of the lagoon. A breeze brushed gently against the figures, carrying scents of honeyed petals and damp stones. Tiny motes of light spiraled upward, brushing cloaks and hair with warmth. Birds with faintly glowing feathers glided slowly, wings tracing arcs of soft light that merged with the reflections on the water. The current guided the figures past clusters of luminous islands. Small cascades tumbled from mossy rocks, their droplets scattering light in gentle arcs. Pools formed beneath the falls, catching the glow and sending it outward in subtle ripples, a soft invitation to observe, breathe, and drift with the flow. Trees arched overhead, forming natural canopies. Leaves shimmered, casting moving patterns across the water. Small creatures, barely visible through the mist, moved with deliberate calm. Fox-like beings with silver fur, luminous insects tracing arcs above reeds, and faint shapes that hinted at animals or spirits long forgotten. All unfolded slowly, breaths aligned with the soft hum of the water. Every ripple, every shimmer of light, every faint scent created a meditation in motion, a world suspended in calm observation. The figures drifted without effort, aware of the subtle rhythm, following the lagoon's gentle curves and hidden passages, fully absorbed in the slow unfolding of this serene realm. Light shimmered on the water as islands grew more frequent, their surfaces covered in soft moss and glowing flowers. Mist curled between reeds and stones, carrying faint fragrances of blossoms and wet earth. A small creature emerged from the haze, a fox with fur like spun silver. It paused at the edge of the water, eyes reflecting the soft glow, then moved silently among the reeds, barely disturbing the calm surface. Crystalline trees bent gracefully, forming archways that hinted at hidden passages. Gentle pools formed beneath cascading streams, their waters catching light and sending it outward in faint ripples, illuminating stones etched with ancient patterns. The figures floated slowly, hands brushing lightly over the water, tracing delicate arcs that merged with the current. Each ripple revealed visions, towers rising from clouds, bridges of pale light stretching into mist, fields of softly glowing flowers bending in acknowledgement. Tiny motes of luminescence spiraled upward, brushing against cloaks and hair. Birds glided lazily, wings tracing gentle arcs, while insects hummed faint harmonic tones that blended with the subtle vibration of water. Shapes shifted softly in the distance, shadowy forms beneath the water, barely seen, moving with deliberate calm, branches arching to meet one another, forming natural frames for the drifting light. Every movement added to the meditation, inviting slow observation without demand. The air was warm and still, carrying a sense of quiet presence. Breaths deepened, aligning with the rhythm of water and light. Every ripple, every shimmer, every subtle scent guided the figures through the lagoon, their journey unhurried, deliberate, and serene. Small cascades tumbled from mossy cliffs, scattering light in arcs. Pools collected the glow, reflecting faint images of distant lands, hills, towers, and islands that beckoned softly, without urgency. The figures drifted past these features, moving in perfect harmony with the gentle current, fully immersed in the rhythm and serenity of the lagoon. Shapes, light, and mist wove a quiet tapestry around them, each moment unfolding slowly, deliberately, as the journey continued deeper into the river of time. A stretch of the river opened into a wide expanse, the water smooth and pale, reflecting the shifting colors of the sky, soft golds blending into muted lavender and silver. Islands dotted the expanse, small mounds of moss and flowers glowing faintly like scattered lanterns. A gentle breeze stirred, carrying the scent of wet stone, blossoms, and a faint trace of something metallic, like starlight brushed into the air. Small motes of light spiraled upward, brushing the figures' cloaks and hair with warmth. A new presence appeared ahead, a slender figure, partially hidden behind a cluster of reeds, its form shifting subtly with the mist. No words passed, only a quiet acknowledgement, a shared understanding of the calm flow of the river. Crystalline trees leaned overhead, their branches forming gentle archways. Leaves shimmered in muted light, casting soft patterns across the water. Tiny creatures moved among them, fox-like beings with silver fur, birds gliding lazily with glowing feathers, insects tracing faint arcs above the water, each adding to the quiet symphony of motion. Pools of water formed beneath small cascades, reflecting the glow of flowers and mist. Ripples spread slowly, revealing fleeting visions, bridges of light, towers rising from clouds, meadows of softly glowing flora bending as if in acknowledgement. Mist curled around islands and stones, softening edges, blending colors, turning the river into a flowing dreamscape. Every breath brought warmth and calm. Every movement matched the slow pulse of the water, aligning the figures with the rhythm of this hidden world. Shapes shifted subtly in the distance, shadows gliding beneath the water, branches curving naturally, faint hints of creatures moving with deliberate grace. The figures allowed themselves to follow, observing quietly, breathing slowly, letting the current guide them deeper. Streams of light broke through the mist, illuminating paths across the water, guiding attention without urgency. The figures traced these arcs with their fingertips, leaving small ripples that intertwined with the gentle flow, revealing glimpses of unseen landscapes ahead. Hills, glowing flowers, arches of crystal, and pools of reflective light. The river widened, carrying them past luminous islands and gentle cascades. Birds, insects, and small glowing creatures moved in harmony with the current, a quiet choreography inviting observation without demand. The figures drifted slowly, fully immersed in the serene unfolding of this world. Light shimmered through the mist, revealing a stretch where the river curved around gentle hills. Small islands rose from the water, their surfaces covered in soft moss and delicate flowers glowing faintly. The figures drifted past, hands lightly brushing the surface, leaving ripples that spread slowly and intertwined with the gentle current. A slender creature appeared on one of the islands, translucent wings catching the soft glow of floating motes. It moved slowly, pausing to observe the travelers before continuing along the mossy path. The water beneath it shimmered, revealing fleeting visions, a meadow of luminous flowers bending in waves, a bridge of pale light twisting toward mist, and towers that rose from clouds as if held by dreams alone. Mist curled around islands and stones, softening outlines and blending colors into gentle gradients. Pale blues fading into silvers, muted golds merging with lavender. The air carried scents of blossoms, wet earth, and a faint metallic shimmer, all of which deepened the sense of calm and presence. Crystalline trees leaned toward one another, forming archways through which faint light passed. Leaves shimmered with muted brilliance, casting soft reflections on the water. Small creatures moved among them, fox-like beings with silver fur, birds gliding lazily, insects tracing arcs of faint luminescence, all contributing to the quiet harmony. Pools formed beneath gentle cascades, their waters catching light and sending soft ripples outward. Each ripple revealed new visions, a floating bridge winding into clouds, hills glowing softly under unseen moons, delicate arches formed of crystal and mist. The figures observed without hurry, tracing arcs with fingertips, feeling the current guide them gently through the dreamlike world. The river widened into a quiet lagoon. Islands dotted the water, each with mossy surfaces and glowing flora. Soft moats spiraled upward, brushing the figures' hair and cloaks with warmth. Birds glided lazily, wings leaving faint traces of light, while insects hummed gentle harmonic tones that blended seamlessly with the vibration of the water. Shadows moved subtly beneath the surface, creatures gliding slowly, shapes bending with the water's rhythm. Trees arched overhead, their branches forming natural canopies. Light filtered through leaves, creating ever-shifting patterns on the rippling water. Every detail invited observation without demand. Every motion contributed to the meditation unfolding around them. Gentle cascades tumbled from mossy rocks, scattering soft light across the lagoon. Pools reflected distant visions, glowing hills, bridges of pale light, arches stretching into mist, and flowers bending slowly as if acknowledging presence. The figures floated without effort, fully immersed in the rhythm of the water, the glow of the islands, and the soft hum beneath the surface. Mist thickened in delicate spirals, weaving around islands and reeds, transforming the lagoon into a fluid dreamscape. Every breath drew warmth and calm deeper. Every exhale released tension, aligning the travelers with the serene pulse of this hidden world. They moved slowly, guided by the current, passing clusters of luminous islands, gentle waterfalls, and pools reflecting muted skies. Shapes in the distance hinted at new wonders, arches of light, towers rising from clouds, and faint creatures moving with deliberate calm. The figures allowed themselves to drift, fully present in the quiet unfolding of the river of time. The river curved gently, opening into a tranquil stretch where the water mirrored the soft hues of sky and mist. Small islands appeared more frequently, their mossy surfaces dotted with flowers that glowed faintly, pulsing in quiet rhythm with the subtle hum beneath the water. Wisps of mist curled upward, carrying faint scents of blossoms and damp earth. Tiny motes of light floated in spirals, brushing gently against the figures' hair and cloaks. Birds glided lazily above, their wings tracing arcs of soft luminescence. Insects hummed delicate tones, harmonizing with the vibration of the river and creating a quiet symphony of calm. A slender creature moved among the reeds, a fox with silver fur and gentle eyes. It paused briefly, observing the figures, before continuing along the moss-covered stones. Shadows beneath the water suggested creatures gliding slowly, their forms translucent and serene, adding to the sense of a world in quiet harmony. Crystalline trees arched gracefully, forming archways and canopies. Leaves shimmered softly, scattering light across the water in delicate patterns. Pools formed beneath small cascades, reflecting distant visions, bridges of pale light winding into mist, hills glowing with muted tones, and arches rising as if from dreams. The figures traced arcs with their fingertips, leaving ripples that intertwined with the gentle current. Each ripple revealed fleeting images, a meadow of flowers bending with the soft breeze, towers reaching through clouds, islands floating above misty waters. Every vision lingered just long enough to feel, then dissolved, leaving only the serene rhythm of the river. Mist thickened, wrapping islands, reeds, and trees in soft, curling spirals. Every inhalation brought warmth and calm. Every exhalation released lingering tension. The figures drifted slowly, guided by the current, fully immersed in the subtle pulse of light, water, and mist. Streams of light broke through the haze, illuminating hidden passages, clusters of luminous flora, and distant cascades. The figures followed, hands barely disturbing the water, letting the river carry them gently past these wonders. Shadows and shapes moved in harmony with the flow, never startling, only inviting calm observation. Small waterfalls tumbled from mossy cliffs, scattering light across the river. Pools below reflected distant shapes, arches of crystal, faint creatures moving with deliberate grace, and islands glowing softly in the mist. The figures floated without effort, absorbed in the serene unfolding of this dreamlike world. Every detail, the hum beneath the water, the shimmer of leaves, the gentle ripple of pools, the soft scents carried by the breeze, wove together into a seamless meditation in motion. The figures continued to drift, fully surrendered to the unhurried rhythm of the river of time, experiencing the quiet wonder of each passing moment. The river widened further, its surface reflecting soft, muted colors that shifted like gentle brushstrokes across the water. Small islands appeared, each covered in moss and luminous flowers, their glow pulsing slowly in time with the subtle hum beneath the surface. Mist curled around reeds and stones, softening edges and blending colors into gradients of pale blue, lavender, and silver. Tiny motes of light drifted upward, brushing the figures' hair and cloaks with warmth. Birds glided lazily overhead, wings tracing faint arcs of luminescence, while insects hummed gentle harmonies that blended with the quiet vibration of the river. Crystalline trees leaned toward one another, forming natural archways that revealed glimpses of hidden passages and distant cascades. Leaves shimmered softly, scattering light across the water. Pools formed beneath small waterfalls, reflecting faint visions. Bridges of pale light twisting into mist, hills glowing softly under an unseen sky, and islands that floated as if suspended in dreams. A slender creature moved across a moss-covered island, translucent wings catching the soft glow of the motes. It paused briefly, watching the figures, before continuing along the path in slow, deliberate steps. Shadows beneath the water hinted at other creatures gliding lazily, their translucent forms blending with the reflections above. The figures traced delicate arcs with their fingertips, leaving ripples that spread across the water, revealing fleeting images. Fields of luminous flowers bending gently, towers rising through clouds, and arches of crystal catching the soft light. Every image lingered long enough to feel, then dissolved, leaving only the calm rhythm of the river. Mist thickened, curling around islands, reeds, and trees, forming soft spirals. Every breath brought warmth and serenity. Every exhale released lingering tension. The figures drifted slowly, carried by the current, fully immersed in the gentle pulse of this serene world. Streams of light broke through the haze, illuminating clusters of luminous flora and distant cascades. The figures followed these arcs, hands barely disturbing the water, letting the river guide them past hidden wonders. Shapes moved subtly in the distance, faint silhouettes beneath the surface, branches arching naturally, and creatures gliding in deliberate calm. Small waterfalls tumbled from mossy cliffs, scattering gentle light across the river. Pools below reflected distant visions, glowing hills, arches of crystal, islands wrapped in mist, and creatures moving slowly in harmony with the water. The figures floated without effort, absorbed in the seamless, meditative rhythm of this hidden realm. Every sound, the hum beneath the water, the shimmer of leaves, the gentle ripple of pools, the faint fragrance of blossoms, wove together into a quiet symphony. The figures continued to drift, surrendering to the unhurried flow, fully present in the river of time, exploring new corners of this dreamlike world. The river curved gently around hills shrouded in soft mist, revealing islands dotted with glowing flowers and mossy stones. Light shimmered across the water in muted shades of gold and silver, reflecting the subtle colors of the sky above. Mist drifted lazily among reeds and small pools, carrying the scents of blossoms and damp earth. Tiny motes of light spiraled upward, brushing against hair and cloaks with warmth. Birds glided slowly, wings tracing faint luminescent arcs, and insects hummed soft tones that blended with the quiet vibration of the river. Crystalline trees leaned toward one another, forming natural archways. Leaves shimmered, scattering reflections across the water. Small creatures moved gracefully, fox-like beings with silver fur, translucent insects tracing slow arcs, and faint shapes beneath the water gliding with deliberate calm. Gentle cascades tumbled from mossy cliffs, scattering light into subtle rainbows that rippled across pools below. Each ripple revealed visions, floating bridges of light, hills glowing under unseen moons, delicate arches of crystal rising from clouds, and islands suspended as if by dreams. Fingers traced arcs in the water, leaving soft ripples that intertwined with the current. Each ripple revealed fleeting glimpses, meadows of glowing flowers swaying in time with the gentle breeze, towers rising into mist, and shapes moving slowly across distant hills. The figures observed without hurry, letting the river guide their path. Streams of light filtered through the mist, illuminating hidden passages, clusters of luminous flora, and distant waterfalls. Shapes shifted subtly in the distance. Arches of crystal, silhouettes beneath the water, and creatures gliding lazily among reeds and islands. Every movement encouraged calm observation without demand. The air was warm and still, every breath aligned with the subtle pulse of the water. Mist curled gently around islands and trees, forming spirals of color and light. The figures floated slowly, fully immersed in the serene rhythm of this dreamlike realm. Small waterfalls and pools reflected distant visions, hills, glowing islands, arches of pale light, and gentle shapes moving in harmony with the river. Birds, insects, and small creatures moved in quiet, deliberate patterns, blending seamlessly with the gentle flow. Every detail, the hum beneath the water, soft ripples, shimmering leaves, and delicate scents of flowers, wove together into a seamless meditation in motion. The figures drifted onward, absorbed in the quiet unfolding of the river of time, exploring new corners of this hidden, luminous world. Light shimmered across a wide expanse of water, revealing clusters of luminous islands crowned with moss and glowing flowers. Mist curled lazily among the reeds and stones, softening outlines and blending colors into gentle gradients of silver, lavender, and muted gold. Tiny motes of light drifted upward, brushing gently against hair and cloaks. Birds glided slowly overhead, wings tracing faint arcs of luminescence. Insects hummed soft harmonies that blended with the quiet vibration beneath the surface. Crystalline trees leaned gracefully toward one another, forming archways that revealed hidden paths. Pools beneath gentle cascades reflected faint visions, bridges of pale light twisting into clouds, hills glowing softly under an unseen sky, and islands suspended as if held in dreams. A slender creature moved among the mossy stones, translucent wings catching soft glows. It paused briefly, observing the travelers, before continuing its slow, deliberate path. Beneath the surface, shadows glided lazily, translucent and serene. Fingers traced delicate arcs on the water, leaving ripples that revealed fleeting visions. Fields of softly glowing flowers bending with a gentle breeze, towers rising through clouds, and arches formed of crystal catching muted light. Every image lingered long enough to feel, then dissolved into calm. Mist thickened in spirals around islands and reeds. Each inhalation brought warmth and serenity. Each exhalation released lingering tension. The travelers drifted slowly, guided by the gentle current, fully immersed in the subtle pulse of this hidden world. Streams of light broke through the haze, illuminating clusters of luminous flora, hidden pathways, and distant waterfalls. Shapes moved subtly in the distance. Arches of crystal, faint silhouettes beneath the water, and creatures gliding lazily among islands. Every movement invited calm observation, no hurry, no urgency. Cascades tumbled from mossy cliffs, scattering gentle light across the water. Pools reflected distant visions, glowing hills, arches of pale light, islands wrapped in mist, and serene creatures moving in deliberate patterns. The travelers floated without effort, absorbed in the seamless meditation of the world around them. Every detail, the hum beneath the water, soft ripples, shimmering leaves, delicate floral scents, wove together into a serene symphony. They drifted onward, surrendering to the unhurried flow, fully present in this luminous, dreamlike expanse, ready to explore further wonders in the unfolding journey. Soft light illuminated a stretch where water widened into shallow pools, dotted with small, moss-covered islands. Each island glowed faintly with delicate flowers, their subtle luminescence casting gentle patterns on the surface. Mist drifted slowly over reeds and stones, carrying the faint scent of blossoms and wet earth. Tiny motes of light spiraled upward, brushing hair and cloaks with warmth. Birds glided lazily above, wings tracing arcs of soft luminescence, while insects hummed gentle tones that blended with the subtle vibration beneath the water. Crystalline trees arched gracefully, forming natural archways that hinted at hidden pathways. Leaves shimmered softly, scattering light across the pools below. Small creatures moved with deliberate calm. Fox-like beings with silver fur, translucent insects tracing slow arcs above the water, and faint forms beneath the surface gliding with serene rhythm. Gentle cascades tumbled from mossy cliffs, scattering soft light into delicate ripples. Pools reflected distant visions, bridges of pale light winding into mist, hills glowing under unseen moons, and arches of crystal rising like fragile towers. Fingers traced arcs on the water, leaving ripples that intertwined with the slow current. Each ripple revealed fleeting glimpses, meadows of glowing flowers bending gently, towers rising through clouds, and distant islands floating as if suspended by dreams. The travelers observed quietly, moving without hurry, allowing the water to guide their path. Streams of light broke through the haze, illuminating clusters of luminous flora and distant waterfalls. Shapes shifted subtly, arches of crystal, silhouettes beneath the surface, and creatures gliding lazily among islands. Each movement invited calm observation without urgency. The air was warm and still, each breath aligning with the soft pulse of the water. Mist curled gently around islands and trees, forming delicate spirals of color and light. The travelers drifted slowly, fully immersed in the meditative rhythm of the world. Cascades and pools reflected distant visions, glowing hills, islands bathed in pale light, arches stretching into mist, and gentle creatures moving with deliberate grace. The travelers floated effortlessly, absorbed in the unfolding serenity, ready to explore further wonders hidden in the soft, luminous expanse ahead. Light shimmered across a quiet expanse where shallow pools reflected the soft hues of sky and mist. Small islands rose gently from the water, their surfaces covered in moss and softly glowing flowers. Mist drifted lazily among reeds and stones, carrying scents of blossoms, damp earth, and a faint metallic shimmer that felt like starlight brushed into the air. Tiny motes spiraled upward, brushing the travelers' hair and cloaks with warmth. Birds glided slowly, tracing arcs of faint luminescence, and insects hummed delicate harmonies blending with the soft vibration beneath the water. Crystalline trees leaned toward one another, forming archways that revealed hidden passages. Leaves shimmered softly, scattering light across pools below. Small creatures moved with deliberate calm. Fox-like beings with silver fur, translucent insects tracing slow arcs, and faint shapes beneath the water gliding serenely. Gentle cascades tumbled from mossy cliffs, scattering soft light in faint rainbows across the water. Pools reflected distant visions, bridges of pale light winding into mist, glowing hills beneath unseen moons, arches rising like fragile towers, and islands suspended as if held by dreams. Fingers traced delicate arcs in the water, leaving ripples that intertwined with the current. Each ripple revealed fleeting glimpses, meadows of glowing flowers swaying in time with the gentle breeze, towers rising through clouds, and distant creatures moving slowly among reeds and stones. Observation was quiet, deliberate, without urgency. Streams of light broke through haze, illuminating hidden clusters of luminous flora and distant waterfalls. Shapes moved subtly in the distance. Arches of crystal, silhouettes beneath the water, and creatures gliding lazily among islands. Every movement invited calm attention, no rush, no demand. Mist thickened in delicate spirals, curling around islands and reeds, softening edges and blending colors. Each inhalation brought warmth and serenity. Every exhalation released lingering tension. Travelers drifted slowly, fully aligned with the gentle pulse of the world. Cascades and pools reflected distant visions, glowing hills, pale islands, arches stretching into mist, and gentle creatures moving in harmony with the current. Birds, insects, and tiny luminous beings moved deliberately, blending seamlessly with the flow. Every detail, the hum beneath the water, ripples on the surface, shimmering leaves, and faint floral scents, wove together into a quiet symphony. The travelers floated effortlessly, absorbed in the seamless meditation of this luminous, dreamlike expanse, ready to move onward toward new, unseen wonders. Light shimmered across a quiet expanse where shallow pools reflected muted colors of sky and mist. Small islands rose gently from the water, their mossy surfaces dotted with softly glowing flowers, each pulse of light blending seamlessly with the subtle hum beneath the surface. Mist curled around reeds and stones, carrying faint scents of blossoms, damp earth, and a metallic shimmer that felt like starlight brushing the air. Tiny motes spiraled upward, brushing the travelers' hair and cloaks with warmth. Birds glided lazily overhead, wings tracing gentle arcs of luminescence, and insects hummed soft tones that harmonized with the vibration beneath the water. Crystalline trees arched gracefully, forming natural corridors and archways. Leaves shimmered softly, scattering reflections on pools below. Small creatures moved with deliberate calm. Fox-like beings with silver fur, translucent insects tracing arcs above the water, and faint shapes beneath the surface gliding serenely. Gentle cascades tumbled from mossy cliffs, scattering light into soft, muted rainbows across the water. Pools reflected distant visions, bridges of pale light winding into mist, hills glowing beneath unseen moons, delicate arches of crystal rising like fragile towers, and islands that floated as if held by dreams. Fingers traced arcs across the water, leaving ripples that intertwined with the current. Each ripple revealed fleeting glimpses, fields of glowing flowers bending gently in a slow breeze, towers rising through clouds, and distant creatures moving with serene deliberation among reeds and mossy stones. Observation was quiet, unhurried, and absorbing. Streams of light filtered through the mist, illuminating clusters of luminous flora, hidden pathways, and distant waterfalls. Shapes shifted subtly in the distance. Arches of crystal, faint silhouettes beneath the water, and creatures gliding lazily among islands. Every movement encouraged calm attention, without urgency or expectation. Mist thickened in delicate spirals, weaving around islands and trees, softening outlines and blending colors into gradients of silver, lavender, and muted gold. Every inhalation brought warmth and serenity. Every exhalation released lingering tension. Travelers drifted slowly, carried by a gentle pulse, fully immersed in the meditative rhythm of the luminous world around them. Cascades and pools reflected distant visions, glowing hills, pale islands, arches stretching into mist, and creatures moving deliberately in harmony with the surroundings. Birds, insects, and tiny luminous beings traced graceful arcs above the water, blending seamlessly with the soft current. Every detail, the hum beneath the water, gentle ripples, shimmering leaves, delicate floral scents, wove together into a quiet symphony. The travelers floated effortlessly, absorbed in the seamless meditation of this dreamlike expanse, ready to move forward toward new, unseen wonders that awaited in the soft, luminous landscape ahead. A soft glow emerged from the horizon, spreading gentle warmth across the calm waters. Islands shimmered faintly, their mossy surfaces and delicate flowers bathed in the muted light. Mist swirled slowly, weaving through reeds and stones, carrying the subtle scent of blossoms and wet earth. Tiny motes of light spiraled upward, brushing hair and cloaks with warmth. Birds glided in slow arcs above, their wings leaving soft trails of luminescence. Insects hummed delicate tones, merging with the gentle vibration beneath the surface. Crystalline trees arched gracefully, forming natural corridors that invited quiet exploration. Leaves shimmered softly, scattering light across reflective pools. Small creatures moved with deliberate calm. Fox-like beings with silver fur, translucent insects tracing arcs above the water, and faint forms gliding serenely beneath the surface. Gentle cascades tumbled from mossy cliffs, scattering muted rainbows across the water. Pools reflected distant visions, bridges of pale light winding into clouds, hills glowing under unseen moons, arches of crystal rising like fragile towers, and islands floating as if held by dreams. Fingers traced delicate arcs across the water, leaving ripples that intertwined with the current. Each ripple revealed fleeting glimpses, meadows of softly glowing flowers, towers rising through mist, and distant creatures moving slowly among reeds and stones. Observation was quiet and absorbing, unhurried and serene. Streams of light filtered through the haze, illuminating clusters of luminous flora and distant waterfalls. Shapes shifted subtly in the distance. Arches of crystal, faint silhouettes beneath the water, and creatures gliding lazily among islands. Every movement invited calm attention, without expectation or haste. Mist thickened in gentle spirals, curling around islands and trees, softening outlines and blending colors. Each inhalation brought warmth and serenity. Each exhalation released lingering tension. The travelers drifted slowly, fully aligned with the gentle pulse of the world. Cascades and pools reflected distant visions, glowing hills, pale islands, arches stretching into mist, and gentle creatures moving deliberately. Birds, insects, and tiny luminous beings traced graceful arcs above the water, merging seamlessly with the current. Every detail, the hum beneath the water, soft ripples, shimmering leaves, and delicate floral scents, wove together into a serene symphony. The travelers floated effortlessly, absorbed in the quiet meditation of this luminous, dreamlike expanse, ready to embrace the calm conclusion of their journey through the river of time. Lights softened across the wide expanse of water, turning islands and mossy stones into gentle silhouettes. Flowers glowed faintly, their pulses slower now, matching the quiet rhythm of the air. Mist drifted lazily, curling through reeds and around trees, carrying subtle scents of blossoms and damp earth. Tiny motes of light floated upward, brushing the travelers' hair and cloaks with warmth. Birds glided slowly overhead, wings tracing soft arcs of luminescence. Insects hummed gentle tones, blending seamlessly with the quiet vibration beneath the surface. Crystalline trees leaned toward one another, forming natural archways. Their leaves shimmered faintly, scattering light across pools below. Small creatures moved with deliberate calm, silver-furred fox-like beings, translucent insects tracing slow arcs, and faint shapes gliding serenely beneath the surface. Gentle cascades tumbled from mossy cliffs, scattering soft rainbows across the water. Pools reflected distant visions, arches of pale light, hills glowing under unseen moons, towers rising delicately into mist, and islands floating as if held in dreams. Fingers traced arcs across the water, leaving ripples that intertwined with the slow current. Each ripple revealed fleeting glimpses, meadows of softly glowing flowers, distant towers, and serene creatures moving gently among reeds and stones. Observation was quiet, unhurried, and absorbing. Streams of light filtered through haze, illuminating clusters of luminous flora and distant waterfalls. Shapes moved subtly, arches of crystal, faint silhouettes beneath the water, and creatures gliding lazily among islands. Each movement invited calm attention, free of expectation or haste. Mist thickened around islands and trees in gentle spirals, softening outlines and blending colors into muted silver, lavender, and pale gold. Every breath brought warmth and serenity. Every exhale released lingering tension. Travelers floated slowly, aligned with the gentle pulse of this luminous world. Cascades and pools reflected distant visions, glowing hills, pale islands, arches stretching into mist, and gentle creatures moving deliberately. Birds, insects, and tiny luminous beings traced graceful arcs above the water, merging with the current. Every detail, the hum beneath the water, soft ripples, shimmering leaves, and delicate floral scents, wove into a serene symphony. The travelers drifted effortlessly, fully present, feeling the quiet satisfaction of their journey's culmination and the soft, luminous promise of rest. Dawn's first light touched the edges of the mist, painting islands and mossy stones with gentle gold. Flowers dimmed their glow, settling into quiet pulses, while the soft fragrance of blossoms lingered in the cool air. Mist rose slowly, curling around reeds, trees, and small cascades, weaving a delicate veil over the world. Tiny motes of light floated upward, brushing the travelers' hair and cloaks with warmth. Birds moved lazily across the sky, tracing soft arcs, while insects hummed in harmony with the gentle vibration beneath the surface. Crystalline trees stood in serene stillness, leaves shimmering faintly as if in farewell. Small creatures moved with calm deliberation, silver-furred fox-like beings, translucent insects tracing slow arcs, and faint shapes beneath the water gliding quietly. Pools reflected the last visions of the journey. Arches of pale light stretching into mist, glowing hills under soft skies, floating islands, and towers dissolving gently into distant clouds. Cascades tumbled softly from mossy cliffs, scattering muted rainbows across calm waters. Fingers traced the water one final time, leaving ripples that danced slowly before fading into stillness. Every ripple revealed glimpses of fields of glowing flowers, distant towers, and serene creatures, lingering just long enough to feel their gentle presence. Streams of light filtered softly through the mist, illuminating the islands and distant waterfalls. Every movement was deliberate and calm. Arches of crystal, silhouettes beneath the water, creatures gliding slowly, all part of the quiet harmony of the world. Mist thinned gradually, curling into gentle spirals that softened outlines and blended colors into silver, lavender, and muted gold. Each breath brought warmth and serenity. Every exhale released lingering tension. The travelers floated slowly, fully present, feeling the gentle conclusion of their journey. Cascades and pools reflected the final visions. Glowing hills, pale islands, arches stretching into mist, and gentle creatures moving with serene purpose. Birds, insects, and luminous motes traced their last arcs above the water, merging seamlessly with the calm current. The world seemed to sigh softly, a quiet symphony of hums, ripples, shimmering leaves, and delicate floral scents. Travelers drifted effortlessly, surrendering to the peaceful rhythm. Light, mist, and water blended into one final meditation, leaving a sense of calm completion, rest, and gentle wonder. And as the last ripples faded, the luminous landscape softened into quiet stillness, carrying the travelers and the listener into serene, gentle sleep.